Welcome back to another Tuesday with Yes, I'm Adopted, Don't Make It Weird. I'm Dave-O. This is still Brett. And this week we're going to talk a little bit more about trauma brain. Trauma brain!
You ever go through trauma and have to deal with stuff afterwards?
Because you were pre-verbal, didn't know how to process.
Now you do, and then you don't know what to do!
So you start singing this song.
Ah!
Lord, I hope that gets edited out. That's terrible.
So thank you guys for joining us. First of all, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever other holidays there are out there. I don't know when they are. Is there a Korean version of Christmas, or is it just Christmas?
I think it's mostly Christmas.
I should probably know this. So anyways, we are so glad that you guys joined us today for the first episode of the new year. You ready for a dad joke?
Okay.
It feels like a year since I've seen you.
Boo.
Yep.
So this week, we're going to be continuing our discussion of trauma brain, which we talked about 2 weeks ago before Christmas occurred, and which was delightful.
Christmas is amazing.
And so we're going to talk a little bit more about what that means to us as adults today. A lot of the research that we've got that has led to this discussion came from a couple of books by Nancy Verrier called The Primal Wound and Coming Home to Self, which are very good resources that somebody pointed me to a couple of years ago. And as I was reading those and as we were discussing this over the last few years, this idea came up that part of the thing that happens with separation trauma, for infant adoptees specifically, is that later on in life, usually it starts to manifest around the middle school, puberty years.
Yeah.
Is this tendency for the adoptee brain to take basic correction and interpret it as personal criticism.
You are attacking me as a person.
How dare you?
What is wrong with you?
And when I first read that, it was really interesting and revelatory for me to be like, oh, right. I do that. That is me. Do other adoptees really do this? And so we started talking about it. We talked to other people. We've had really interesting conversations with other adopted parents, with other adoptees.
With our wives.
Recently.
Man, that's a fun one right there.
Yesterday. about how this has affected who we are and how we function. Yeah. And Lord, I wish that this research had been done when I was in middle school that we'd had access to it, because I think it would have saved
so much time,
and it would have saved me and my parents, I think, a lot of grief.
Oh yeah, just so much trauma in your life happens because of it, and it's all unnecessary. Every single bit of it is unnecessary, but you make it out to be something catastrophic in your mind, and you don't know how to handle it. So let's talk about how to handle it. So when I was a kid, mainly in those kind of like middle school, early years type of thing, I was a decent student. I was, in high school, if you're watching this and you ever were my friend in high school, or you're my teacher in high school, you're probably laughing right now, because I was a horrible student in high school. But in those middle school years, I was a decent student, until they decided to start telling me and demanding that I do my homework. Now, before this, I was homeschooled, and I did all of the work, and I was very consistent, and I was a good student. But then they started demanding things out of me. And I did not like that. I did not like it at all. I did not like people telling me what to do, because I was planning on doing it anyways. But the fact that you brought it up time and time again, do your homework, make sure you turn in your homework, hey, did you do this yet? It made me not want to do it. And that caused a lot of problems for me in school, because I just did not want to do it, because I was told by somebody else to do it when I was already planning on it myself. And that was a huge problem for me, and it still is nowadays. Like, my wife will tell me to do something, she'll be like, hey, can you take out the trash? Well, if I'm already planning on taking out the trash, in my mind, it's, you don't trust me enough to do this already, so you have to tell me to do it, therefore now I don't want to do it. Isn't that dumb?
It's kind of dumb.
Isn't that the dumbest thing ever? And I've only begun to realize it in the last couple years that I do this all the time. And that's how it was in school. Because I felt like you did not have enough faith in me or enough trust in me to actually do my homework and to do whatever it is you told me to, that I got upset because you attacked me. You attacked my character. and I didn't care afterwards. I just stopped caring about it. It's so dumb.
It's pretty dumb,
right?
But I mean, it seems to be a relative universal.
It is
for a lot of us. So like it is in middle school. I very specifically remember telling my mom to stop criticizing me. But basically, she was telling me to like wash my face or take a shower.
Right, taking a shower. That was a big one. Like taking
why
a shower.
Why do you care
was
about
huge.
my personal appearance? How dare you? You know.
Yeah, it was huge. Okay, this is bad. Okay, this is bad. I'm gonna tell a story. This is embarrassing. But there would be times when I would go without a shower for weeks. What I would do is I would stand, like I would go to the bathroom and I would turn on the shower so you could hear it running, but I would not get in the shower. I wouldn't, because I was told to by somebody else. Also, that's part of a rebel thing. Teenagers go through that because teenagers are just the worst.
I think this specific idea, I think, is more 80-20 the other way, where I think it's a lot more, this is adoptees and it's exacerbated by the fact that you're going through hormonal changes and stuff like that.
Oh, that definitely doesn't help.
Yeah. I mean, I remember that in my school years, I would just not turn stuff in because I don't like being graded. I don't like people giving me a grade because I take that as a reflection of who I am as a human, as a person.
Yeah.
As an adult, it's affected a lot of our relationships, even to the point where, like, okay, a couple of days ago, I bought potatoes, right? I bought potatoes for our family, sweet potatoes, and I picked out some bad potato. Like, I bought 3 or 5 or something like that, but 2 of them, like, just didn't look good. I just didn't really think about it. I just grabbed them and put them in the bag, right? But I got home, and my wife is like, hey, these potatoes are no good. And I'm like, well, I'm getting mad, right? Like, I'm mad. I'm upset that she doesn't believe in my potatoes. Like, well, then never send me to get potatoes again. Get your own stupid potatoes. Like this is how I feel. And she looks at me. She's like, don't. This is not a criticism because we know now. We know this is an observation. This is corrective. This is not like I am not judging you as a person. This is just something that happened.
You grabbed some bad potatoes.
Let's move on. These are bad potatoes. It is not the end of the world. To have that be my natural reaction, to this day, at 35, to have that be my natural inclination, if I didn't know where that came from and I didn't know it was the thing I did, would be catastrophic.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
that's crazy.
That'd be bad to continue living like that. I mean, it does translate into what it is that we do as well, as far as like the production company. If people don't like our work, it's not that they have different tastes to us. It's not that they have different preferences. No, they must hate us because we are us. And if you don't like my work, you don't like me.
Which is funny because we're posting these things on the internet.
I know, it's awful, man. The internet's a horrible, scary place.
So the next question then becomes, so this is a thing, right? Like this is a legitimate thing that happens. So now what? What do you do? What do you as parents do? Or what do we as adoptees do as we become old enough to deal with this?
Right.
Do you want to address that?
I mean, like, the way that you said that, it's a personal attack against me, I feel like, because you said it in such a sarcastic way.
Why don't you address that, Brett?
No, I don't want to. So since it is a neurological, scientific condition, it can be addressed. We've talked a little bit about neuroplasticity on this channel and, how brain chemistry, and you can change the way that your brain works and thinks and, like actually physically looks even. But it can be addressed.
So I think step 2 would actually be to normalize it, to say that this is a thing that occurs probably because of trauma brain.
Yeah.
Something that occurred before we as adoptees had any control over it.
Right.
We don't know, that any of these things happened, but this is the response, and this is how we respond. We had a brilliant conversation with Tammy Cromer of Claire's Hope about how she responds to a lot of this trauma with her kids and with a lot of the teachers and parents and faculty that she trains, just in making it known that the average person does not respond to X, Y, or Z in this way. Right? So, like, I don't know necessarily how she presents that to her kids. I'd be interested to know that. But to say, look, when your response to me asking you to take out the garbage was crazy. Right? Like, this was not
Yelling and
normal.
Screaming and kicking.
And so, and for you to take that personally is not normal.
Right.
Like, people don't do, and I have no idea what that looks like because I've always taken that personally.
Oh, me too.
Right? So, but to realize that that's really not a normal response helps us to then take control of it. Helps us to hold on to it and say that this is something that now I can decide and choose how I'm going to respond going forward.
Yeah.
As parents, I don't really know. I honestly think that just being aware that that this is a thing will help you have a greater understanding of how you're going to respond, or that this is not a kid rallying against you. This is just a kid that has trauma brain. The last thing that we will say is that having a sense of humor about it will make it easier.
It's fun now. As a kid, it would not have been fun. Don't laugh at me as a kid. Oh.
Even today, like, give it 10 minutes.
Right.
But at least I can do it in 10 minutes.
Let it sink in what you just said. Pause. Oh no, that was a horrible thing.
Yeah, that was dumb.
I apologize. So thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Yes, I'm Adopted. Don't make it weird. As always, we love to be able to hear your thoughts, so throw it in the comments down below. We want to be able to hear what's going on in your brain, whether it's trauma brain or regular brain. Regular brain.
Sure.
We're going to go with that. So please make sure to like, comment, and share. If you were watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on Facebook, hit that follow button right there in order to get notified whenever new videos come out. That's all we have for you today. We're going out drinking tea. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. 2019.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good one.
The best is yet to come. It's going to be a new you. Other cliche.
We will open the book. Its pages are blank. We're going to put words on them ourselves. The book is called Opportunity. And its first chapter is New Year's Day.
I don't respond to that.
No one can go back in time to change what's happened, so work on your present to make yourself a wonderful future. Happy New Year.
Oh!